God has been speaking to you in your dreams, and this is no coincidence. What you call a weird dream is, in fact, a coded message. What you feel upon waking, even if you don't fully remember, is a spiritual response being activated within you. You have been chosen to see what the closed eyes of the world cannot perceive. And every dream you've ever had, whether it involved water, snakes, mysterious doors, or even people who have passed away, was a divine attempt to awaken you. In this video, you will discover the 7 dreams that God uses to instruct, warn, guide, and activate His chosen ones. Nothing you saw while sleeping was in vain. Every detail was drawn in the invisible realm to guide the visible. So right now in the comments, Lord, speak to me even while I sleep. This act is not symbolic. It is spiritual. It is a key to release. And if you are here, it's not out of curiosity. It's because heaven has chosen you to decipher what many ignore. By the end of this video, you will never sleep the same way again. Jacobo Grinberg, one of the greatest scholars of consciousness, dedicated his life to investigating how the human mind interacts with the invisible. In his research, he revealed a truth that few dare to accept. The reality we live in is shaped by perception, and dreams are one of the most direct bridges to the spiritual field that governs our existence. For Grinberg, dreams are not mere fragments of the unconscious, but coded expressions of a neuronal field that connects every human being to the divine plane. When we sleep, our rational mind quiets down, and the soul finds space to hear what the waking body ignores. It is in this state that God speaks, often without words, using images, sensations, and symbols that escape logic but touch the essence. And it's no accident that you've dreamed of water, snakes, doors, babies, deceased people, falls, or the sensation of being watched. This is not fantasy. It is heavenly instruction. Throughout this video, we will unite spirituality and science to interpret these 7 dream manifestations, because those with spiritual ears understand God is speaking, and now that you have awakened to this truth, it's time to decipher what heaven has been showing you. 1. Water. When water appears in a dream, God is not merely showing a natural element. He is using a celestial language to reveal the state of your soul. In scripture and in the deepest spiritual traditions, water has always symbolized life, movement, cleansing, transition, and revelation. But the essential detail lies in how the water manifests. Each variation carries a specific meaning, a unique message from above. If in your dream you were being swept away by turbulent waters, drowning, struggling to breathe, or trying to escape an unseen current, that does not represent mere fear. It represents the pain you have hidden from yourself. These waters speak of unresolved emotions, old wounds, internal battles you have ignored. God is saying, you are drowning where you should be flowing. Return to me. The drowning is not punishment. It is a warning. It is an urgent call for you to stop resisting healing and allow the Spirit to bring you back to the surface. On the other hand, if the waters in your dream were clear, calm, and silent, this is more than peace. It is spiritual alignment. You are walking according to the divine will, even if everything outside seems chaotic. The stillness in your dream reflects a spirit in surrender. God is saying, continue. You are on the right path. And even if the winds blow around you, your essence remains anchored in faith. Now, if turbulent waves, storms, or violent waters appeared, know that you are not in danger. You are in transition. These waters reveal that God is washing you, purifying you, dismantling what no longer serves. What appears as chaos is, in reality, reconstruction. For a new you to emerge, the old must be carried away, and water is the instrument of transformation. The spiritual key lies in your reaction. If you tried to swim against the current or clung to something in fear of being carried off, this indicates resistance to the divine movement. But if, in the dream, you surrendered to the flow and let the water guide you, this shows trust in God's plan, even without understanding the path. Remember, water dreams are not about the external world, but about your level of surrender. They are about your willingness to let God lead, even when the destination remains unseen. So the next time you dream of water, don't ask, "What does it mean?" Ask, "Lord, what am I trying to control that I should surrender to you?" Because the dream is more than a symbol, it is a spiritual question. And God is awaiting your answer. 2. Snakes. When a snake appears in your dream, you are not under random attack. You are being spiritually warned. The snake is one of the oldest and most profound symbols in the divine language, and its presence in dreams carries a revealing weight that goes far beyond fear. It is a code of vigilance. God is trying to open your spiritual eyes to something or someone you have been ignoring in the conscious realm. If in your dream you were bitten by a snake, the location of the bite matters more than you realize. A bite on the hand represents a direct attack on your calling. Your skills, your mission, your purpose are being sabotaged by a hidden energy or influence. If the bite was on the foot, it means your path is being diverted, that someone or something is trying to alter your spiritual direction. But the greatest danger is not the visible snake. It is the hidden snake, one that appears subtly behind someone you love, under your bed, or camouflaged in the surroundings. This is not to generate fear, but to activate discernment. God is saying, not every presence around you is safe, not every smile is a blessing. The hidden snake represents relationships with disguised intentions, sweet words masking envy, alliances that drain your energy. Now, if in your dream you kill the snake, this is extremely significant. It indicates victory in the invisible realm. While your body rested, your spirit fought and triumphed. There are battles you didn't even realize you were fighting, but heaven took notice. God is saying, you are stronger than you think. And this invisible victory will manifest visibly in the days to come, doors closing on their own, connections breaking, revelations emerging. The most important thing to understand is that the snake does not appear to terrify you, but to prepare you, to sharpen your perception, to pull you out of autopilot, so you stop accepting everything as natural and begin to filter the world with spiritual eyes. Because there are times when apparent goodness is the camouflage of poisonous intent. Therefore, the next time a snake appears in your dream, don't run. Ask boldly, "Lord, who is too close to harm me without me noticing?" Because the dream is the place where masks fall, and the invisible reveals intentions that would otherwise go unnoticed. And the chosen do not live in naivete. They live in discernment. God does not want you to fear. He wants you to see. 3. Doors. When a door appears in your dream, you stand before a spiritual intersection. It is not simply a physical structure, but an exact representation of your moment in the invisible world. Each door, open, locked, broken, or mysterious, carries a code, and God is saying, pay attention. I am showing you where you are and where I can lead you. If the door in your dream was open, this may at first seem like a celebration. But beware, not every open door is an immediate blessing. Often an open door is a test. It represents the opportunity you have prayed for, but it demands spiritual maturity to cross, because what is released also demands obedience. A blessing without preparation becomes a burden. God opens doors, but it is you who chooses, with discernment, whether to enter. Now, if the door was locked, do not see it as rejection. It is not the end. It is spiritual protection. What lies behind it may indeed be yours, but the timing is not right. God closes what you are not yet prepared to bear. The silence of a door that will not budge is often the highest form of care. And if you insist on forcing what God has locked, you may enter places where your soul cannot survive. If the door was broken, kicked in, or showed signs of invasion, the alert is urgent. This represents a spiritual breach. Someone or some energy is trying to force access to what is yours. This is an attack on your spiritual integrity, your peace, your calling. God is saying, reinforce your boundaries. Protect what is sacred. Not every visitor is welcome in the temple of your soul. And most intriguingly, if in your dream you stood before a mysterious door, not knowing what lay on the other side, this speaks more about you than about the door. This scenario reveals a heart divided between faith and fear. You have asked for a new season, but you still hesitate to cross. God is asking, do you have the courage to live what you have asked for? The door is not the obstacle. Your inner readiness determines whether it will open. Therefore, the next time you dream of a door, don't think only of the object. Ask, Lord, is this door my mission, my test, or my protection? Because not every passage is meant to be crossed now. Not every closure is punishment. Some locked doors are blessings in disguise, and the chosen understand that obeying God's timing is as powerful as entering when He says, now. 4. Babies. When a baby appears in your dreams, it is not merely about tenderness or innocence. It is a profound calling, a sacred revelation. You are carrying something from God. A dream of a baby is not sentimental, it is prophetic. It symbolizes a spiritual project in gestation, something small in human eyes but grand in heavenly sight. A mission, a gift, a legacy, a responsibility. If in your dream you held a baby in your arms, God is telling you, I have entrusted you with something that must be cared for. This vision represents a divine seed, an idea, a vision, a calling that is still forming. But beware. Just because it is in your arms does not mean it is secure. It must be nourished, protected, and sustained with obedience, faith, and vigilance. If neglected, it will perish. If cultivated, it will transform. If the baby was crying, do not ignore it. That cry is the voice of your purpose demanding attention. You may be postponing something that should have already begun. Perhaps you doubt your ability. Perhaps you have set aside your mission out of fear, overwhelm, or believing it is not yet time. But the cry is clear. Heaven awaits your response. Now, if in the dream the baby was abandoned, forgotten, or left behind, this is one of the most urgent messages God can send you. It means you have drifted from an important spiritual project. It may be a gift you shelved, a promise you stopped believing in, an instruction you chose to ignore. God is saying, return. Care for what I placed in your hands. There is still time. The most impactful realization is that this baby does not represent a literal child. It represents what you are generating in the invisible. Something no one around you may notice, but that you feel every day. An inner pressure, a restlessness, a sensation of being pregnant with a purpose that has yet to take shape. This is why attacks have increased, obstacles have arisen, and spiritual fatigue has grown. The enemy does not fear who you are today. He fears what you are carrying. So the next time you dream of a baby, ask, Lord, what have you entrusted to me that I have not tended as I should? Because God does not give seeds to distracted hearts. He chooses those who can protect the invisible until it becomes visible. And if you were visited by this dream, it is because something eternal is being gestated in you, and you were chosen not only to generate, but also to manifest it. 5. Deceased loved ones. Dreaming of someone who has passed away is one of the most impactful experiences one can have. When this happens, it is not just about nostalgia or memory. It is a spiritual summons. God may be using the image of someone you respect to access areas of your soul closed to reason, but open to remembrance. In this case, the dream becomes a bridge between the visible and the eternal. If in your dream that person looked at you with depth, spoke an enigmatic word, or simply touched you emotionally, there is a message there. It could be healing being sent, forgiveness that needs release, or even a spiritual instruction your conscious mind would reject if it came any other way. God often employs the image of someone your heart honors to deliver a code that your mind will not block. It's as if he says, "You will listen better if I use this voice." However, deep discernment is required. Not every presence in a dream is sent by God. The spiritual realm is real, and the enemy also knows how to disguise himself as familiarity. Some of these manifestations are attempts to derail, confuse, or emotionally trap you. That is why the criterion is not the person's appearance, but what the dream leaves in you. If upon waking you felt peace, clarity, and direction, there is a high chance God used that moment to align you with the sacred. But if you awoke with fear, confusion, heavy emotions, or an obsession with the experience, then it is a sign of harmful spiritual interference. The enemy knows the chosen are sensitive and therefore tries to slip through the cracks of unhealed emotions. Some of these dreams also carry what we call ancestral awakening. You may be reminded that generational battles are ending through you. That person's presence may be symbolic, showing that you are continuing a mission that began before you were born. Now the anointing, the responsibility, and the inheritance rest upon you. Therefore, the next time a deceased person appears in your dream, do not react only emotionally. Pray, "Lord, was it your spirit that visited me, or a shadow trying to disguise itself?" Because the chosen do not marvel at images, they test the spirits. And God calls you not to be passive before the supernatural, but to be a guardian of your soul's spiritual portals. You are not just someone who dreams. You are a watchman, a discerner, a guardian of what comes from above. 6. Falling. When you dream that you are falling, the impact is not only physical, it's spiritual. You wake with a racing heart, a sweaty body, and a confused mind. Yet what few realize is that this kind of dream is not a sign of terror. It's God repositioning you. In the spiritual realm, falling does not represent defeat. It represents transformation. You may be trying to control an area of your life that was never meant for your hands, a relationship, a title, a structure, an image you sustain out of pride or fear. God allows the fall in your dream to show that if you continue to clutch what should have been surrendered, you will collapse along with it. In this sense, the fall is mercy. It is a strategic withdrawal before total collapse. There is an even deeper detail. The fall is not always complete. Sometimes God allows you to fall just to a certain point, and then he catches you. You wake in a startle, but know that something prevented you from hitting the ground. This is more than protection, it is revelation. God is saying, "See how I remain your foundation, even when everything crumbles." This type of dream often comes during times of transition, when you are being called out of old structures, but still cling to what is familiar. It is as if the Holy Spirit says, "You cannot live the new while insisting on sustaining the old." The dream precisely represents your resistance. Falling also reveals where your identity is founded. If it is based on status, image, performance, or control, it stands on unstable ground. God is calling you to a true reconstruction, not built on what you can keep standing by human effort, but on the rock that never moves. And for that, what is false must collapse. Do not see this kind of dream as punishment. See it as spiritual engineering. God is tearing down what you built without him so that he can raise something indestructible from now on. And if he lets you fall in the invisible, it is because in the visible, he wants to lift you up stronger, more aware, and more aligned with heaven. Therefore, the next time you dream of falling, don't ask, "What is happening?" Ask, "Lord, what have I built without you that now needs to collapse so your will may prevail?" Because sometimes the fall is the only language heaven can use to break the silence of your control. And when you understand this, you begin to see that falling is the beginning of being truly raised. 7. Being watched. Some dreams bring no clear images or audible words, yet leave an unmistakable sensation. You are being observed. There are no faces, no voices, no action. Just a dense, silent, intense atmosphere. And even if you look around, know this: that presence is real. Because when this type of dream manifests, it is not about fear. It is about spiritual recognition. This feeling of being watched without explanation confirms that you have crossed an invisible threshold. You have been activated. Now both heaven and hell know who you are. Angels follow your steps with expectation. Demons study your weaknesses in despair, because your life has transitioned from ordinary to strategic. What you do now affects not only you, it affects generations. This kind of dream is more common in those emerging from spiritual anonymity. In other words, you are no longer hidden in the crowd. You have been revealed as someone carrying a purpose, dangerous to the realm of darkness, hence the sensation of being monitored. You are on the radar, but pay attention. This feeling does not intimidate you, it prepares you. God is saying, now that I have revealed you, you can no longer act as if you are invisible. Your behavior, your words, your decisions, all have become part of a larger spiritual mechanism. Your life is contested territory because you carry within you a code that activates change wherever you go. The crucial point is that this type of dream is not meant to scare you, but to remind you of the responsibility you bear. Heaven chose you. Hell noticed you. But you were sealed with authority to act without fear. It is not about hiding from spiritual surveillance. It is about remaining firm, even under it. Moreover, this sensation, when it appears, is an alert that you are about to make decisions with far greater impact than you imagine. It is as though the spiritual world is gathered around, asking, what will she choose now? What will he do with what he has received? At this point, there is no room for hesitation. You have been seen. Now you must take your stand. So if you dream that you are being watched, that unseen eyes are upon you, pray, Lord, if the spiritual realm is seeing me, may they also see your glory in me. Because the chosen do not flee responsibility. They face the weight of being a light with courage. And if this dream visited you, it is because you can no longer walk as someone ordinary. You carry light, and light will always be watched. Now that you know the 7 dreams God uses to speak to his chosen, no longer treat your sleep as ordinary. You have been activated. Every symbol, every sensation, every image was a seed of instruction planted in silence, waiting for you to awaken spiritually and listen. And now that you have listened, heaven awaits your response. From today on, go to sleep with spiritual expectancy. Pray, Lord, speak to me as I sleep. Reveal what my waking eyes cannot see. Record your dreams. Pray over them. Reflect. Do not ignore them, for God does not waste vision, and if he is showing you, it is because he trusts that you will act. If this message touched your soul, subscribe to the channel right now. Here, you will not only be fed, you will be prepared. And share this video with someone else who needs to remember that they are not dreaming in vain. They are being trained by heaven. And in the comments, write, "Speak to me, Lord. I am listening even in my sleep." That phrase is not just engagement, it is a spiritual covenant, because those who are called do not rest. They watch, even in dream.